Hi, I'm Rich Lund, and I'm on a Herp Quest. I'm out at Colonial Park in Inkster, Michigan, where they've taken on a very endeavorous restoration project. They're taking plenty of what was recreational lawn space that wasn't exactly being used and sometimes collecting plenty of water anyway, and giving it back to nature, restoring the habitat and creating these low, marshy, boggy terrains where a lot of vernal ponds are right there and waiting for amphibians to come along and make the magic happen, which in plenty of cases already has at this time of the year. It's currently May 17th, so for certain earlier amphibians, the frogs and toads that wake up earlier, their breeding season has already ended. They've already mated, they've already laid the eggs, and the eggs have hatched. Now recently we just got to check out the green frog as a tadpole, but for today, I'm looking to go after the Eastern American toad. In Herp Quest episode number 10, we covered a lot of the basics of the Eastern American toad, and then just recently in episode number 19, we got a chance to really hear its trill, its call. Well, today I want to go back to where its life began, where its life starts, the tadpole. But let's take a look at this awesome restoration project and see what we can find along the way. Come quest with me. Here we go.
Oh, too cool not to show. Go, Speed Racer, go!
So not too long ago, all of what I'm standing in was lawn. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy some sports from time to time, but it's a lot of lawn maintenance, a whole lot of lawn care and money spent. And giving it back to nature and made a really important specific ecosystem happening here.
Around here somewhere. Just gotta keep looking. My feet get stuck. Whoa. Hey. Hey. Jackpot. Oh my gosh. Look at them all. Whoa. Whoa. These are, for sure, American toad. One way I know is just how many there are. The American toad, Eastern American toad, is known as an explosive breeder. We're not just talking about the numbers there. In fact, really, explosive breeding does not mean high numbers. Green frogs, bullfrogs, they've got high numbers too. They have prolonged breeding. Prolonged breeding, like with the green frog and with the bullfrog, they've got like a good 2 months of mating. But for the Eastern American toad, they breed, they mate for about 1 to 3 weeks. That's when the conditions are right. And once those eggs are laid, the clock's ticking. They get laid in these vernal ponds, and these tadpoles, they've got to reach maturity before these ponds dry up. So luckily, you know, the warmer the temperature, the faster they develop, which is a good thing, because the warmer the temperatures, well, the faster these ponds dry up. So really, it is a race no matter what. Can you physiologically develop before the evaporation occurs and dooms your life? Another way I can tell too is just from like the body shape. You know, the head is a lot more round compared to something like the green frog. They almost look like little apostrophes. And also, it's an all black or really dark gray body. All right, let's collect some. Get a closer ID. I gotta admit, this has not been the most challenging, which I'm thankful for as far as catching them. Finding them was the tough part. They're kind of making this the easy part. I mean, he came right in there. He's cooperating. Thank you. Let's go get a closer look. See if we can do some ID. Okay, this is a lot better. Get a much closer look. And these guys, man, they are fast, full of energy. Just zipping around. For the Eastern American toad, you can see they have a very dark coloration. They're often described as being like entirely black, but that's not exactly correct. I mean, there is no real true animal black, right? It's just a really darker and darker color of some shade. But a really dark olive brown, almost approaching that of black. And you do have a little bit of speckling here, and it can vary from specimen to specimen how much of that kind of creamy speckling there is. But unlike the green frog, there's no white belly to these guys. Their size is about 2.5 centimeters at maximum. They can certainly be a little bit smaller than that. Now, the green frog might have a white cream-colored belly, but the Eastern American toad has a darker, yet also somewhat or sometimes very translucent belly. take a look. You can see the intestines right there of this pair. Here's a third one who pops in and then says no. And if you look really closely to this transparency, you can see the gills and a bit of the heart beating as they function. And this gives us also a chance to really see like something cool. The tadpole, it's an herbivore. It's going to be eating algae and other plant debris. And so it needs a pretty large or long digestive tract in order to be more efficient for digesting the cellulose that the plant debris is. So it's definitely the intestines of an herbivore. And this changes as the body metamorphosizes. I won't be taking an adult toad and cutting it open to show you its intestines anytime soon, but it's a much shorter track because it then is transitioning over to a much more predatory diet of invertebrates. Now, you've also probably noticed by now the hind legs are already here, and they appear pretty early on in its development. I mean, again, let's face it, this guy's got to be up and out of the pond life from anywhere from 50 to 65 days, or kind of 7 to 9 weeks. So the legs have to sprout out pretty quick and start developing. Now again, depending upon temperature, these toads as tadpoles have 50 to about 65 days to make it to the toadlet stage, which is pretty much the junior-sized adult body, the juvenile that's hopping around toad. These eggs get laid in primarily fishless ponds, so you're talking about, your shallow ponds, your vernal ponds, but then also, pools and ditches that are around neighborhoods. Part of their defense is to congregate in schools. You saw kind of some of that already during the capturing, but they find safety in numbers. But also, they do produce toxins in their skin. Toads are known for their toxicity anyway, but the American toad is already doing this as a tadpole. And the toxins in their skin are pretty potent to fish, to where even the ingestion of just one tadpole has been known to be able to kill a fish. And so they usually, like if at all, spit them out pretty quickly and learn quickly to stay away. And it almost seems redundant, they are laying these eggs in fishless ponds, or so best they do, but mistakes do happen. In addition to that, though, too, these toxins, while very potent to fish, they also do have some benefit to getting dragonfly to resist against them, and dragonflies do go after tadpoles in the wild. So it's not totally a useless poison in a fishless pond, but if they ever are accidentally laying eggs in a fish pond, then fish beware. And just what's really, I think, cool about that too is that there's some semi-recent cutting-edge science about this. 2019 study out of the Journal of Animal and Ecology showed that in a fishless pond, the toxins are still produced, it's just part of the physiology, but in a pond where fish are present, that the toxins were produced in a higher amount, that the tadpoles started to respond to their environment and produce even more toxins because they could sense the chemicals of the fish that were present. Pretty cool finding. And goodness, these are cute little buggers, aren't they? Look at them wiggling around. Love these little guys.
Release time. This is such a glorious, beautiful spot. Inkster, you've done a great job here with Colonial Park. Love getting to see these lawns replaced with what should be here. And I don't know where you live, but hey, if your area is right and you've got a lawn that could be transformed into something like this that no one's using and they're kind of sick of paying the tax dollars to mow, maybe talk to your city council. You don't know until you try. When it comes to herping, I try to live by the idea that you don't know until you look. When it comes to changing the areas around you and your community, you don't know until you try. I'm Rich Lund. Thank you very much for herping with me and trying to protect the nature that's around us and trying to add more to it. And when we're out here, let's try to keep nature as good or better than we found it. All right, I've got a release to do. These little guys have definitely earned it. They've cooperated well. I will see you further down the road.